Also, if you're enjoying this riveting content of me stumbling around because I wasn't feeling well a bit before the show,
Yeah,
uh, I'm feeling better now. It was just a passing thing. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
indeed. Yes.
All right. I don't have a good transition for this, so yeah, like Daniel said, in its second weekend, Deadpool and Wolverine took all the money.
Yes. Almost 100 million domestic after a 200 and something million opening weekend.
Yeah, kissing 400 million. And yet Disney stock is still down. I think it's because at least it was down every time I looked this week. Let's find out.
Yeah. Well, they had their earnings report the other day, which wasn't very good, and apparently park attendance is down. So
Right,
at least the domestic parks. So that would be in my neck of the woods, in Disney
mhm,
World, and then Disneyland in California.
right, and but I mean, the problem is, of course, is that the movies actually have very little direct influence on their top and bottom line since they live off the parks and merchandise.
Yeah.
Now, this is good for them because it's supplemental income for one thing, which it's crazy to think of a $400 million domestic take in 2 weeks as supplemental, but there,
Yeah, well,
there,
that's the
there you go.
yeah, that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Now come, and I'm actually going to be seeing the movie this weekend with my father, so I'll have a solo review for us next week.
Yeah, nice.
All right, bringing up in second in its third weekend is Twisters, with a respectable 22.8 million in its third weekend, and it's kissing 200 million domestic. I'm going to predict, but without not having looked in advance, that the international isn't going to be too big. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
about
not,
80 million after 3 weeks.
yeah,
Which that's okay because it's just a very American film.
yeah.
Although production budget 200 million, Universal.
Man, yeah. There's no reason for that movie to be $200 million.
Bad, bad.
Bad, bad, bad. You're not making your money back.
Uh, yeah, I mean they're going to do better than a lot of movies have done this year, but still bad.
Bad.
if,
Yeah,
if you'd had the $100 million budget I would have expected for this type of thing, you'd be fine. But bad.
yeah, yeah.
But at least you're actually from all indications, you're actually a good movie, unlike Trap, the newest movie from M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes. I heard the first 30 minutes are really good, and after that, it's crap.
It doesn't help that the movie is asking you to sympathize with a serial killer, not a serial killer with rules like Dexter, just a outright serial killer.
So yeah, yeah. That doesn't usually play well with the audience.
No, it's kind of like what's going on with the Acolyte, just from all the reviews I've read. Where, all right, so I remember this can be a weird literary reference here. You ever heard of the Catholic writer G.K. Chesterton?
Yes.
So yeah, he for those who haven't, he was kind of like I would almost call him like the Christian Oscar Wilde because he was like in similar circles in the early 20th century in England.
Yeah.
Um, and in his book Heretics, he pointed out that the weird thing about modernity is that um, people would openly say that they were heretics, which from his perspective was kind of lunacy because like if you think you're right, it's the rest of the world that are heretics, not you.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like if you think that God is an onion, yeah, my weird example. If you
Yeah.
think God is an onion and all the churches and religions of the world disagree with you, they're the ones in the wrong, not you. So you brand them as the heretic and you're the orthodox.
Yeah.
What the trend I seem to be seeing a lot is there's moral relativism where it's like, well, who's really the bad guy? And then there's F morality. I want what I want, which sounds exactly what the message of the acolyte was
Yeah.
in the very deep breakdowns I've heard. And no, we are not reviewing it.
Mm,
If 1,000 reviews by the end of the year, we'll watch, or not 1,000 reviews, excuse me, 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, we will commit to watching all 8 episodes of The Acolyte.
Yes, yes.
That is your bounty for those of you in the audience. You want us to actually watch The Acolyte, and don't just hire a bunch of bots.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
notice because it's still be too suspicious.
Yeah, yeah. I'm clipping that, by the way.
That can be a short.
Yes, yes.
All right. Off of that weird tangent. Despicable Me and Inside Out 2 round out the top 5.
Mm.
And, not unexpected. They're both successful movies, though. I remember there were people predicting in advance that Despicable Me 4 would trounce Inside Out 2. I would have predicted they would be close, but it isn't really shaking out like that. I
Yeah,
think it's because there's so much. I think part of what's helping Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2 is that, like, people like Disney more than they don't. It's like it's very
yeah,
easy to get into our sort of online echo chamber of people who like are pissed off at Disney for ruining various franchises. But Joe on the street doesn't know that or know anything
right.
about that. He doesn't know that Disney has been stiffing all of the right people who wrote like the Star Wars EU novels and refusing to give them royalties, even though they're continuing to print them, and
Yeah,
other shady practices that
yes,
make me dislike them. But they don't know that it's just like there's waiting for an actual good Disney movie or two.
yeah. Yeah, I think no, I think you're right. Yeah, even some of the biggest Disney critics that we watch on YouTube, a lot of them will say like they want Disney to get better. They don't hate
Mhm.
Disney. They want it to get better. And and they're from what I've heard, they were pleased with Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out too. So I mean,
Yep.
yeah,
I'll be able to report it on one of them next week. I
yeah,
never bothered to see Inside Out 1, so I don't think the sequel would speak much to me.
yeah, same here.
Uh, Speaking of a movie that nobody actually wanted to see, Harold
Oh.
and the Purple Crayon.
Yeah, I saw. I've seen a little bit about this, and I'm like, I never heard anything about it, and then I'm seeing news that it's just absolutely bombed, and I'm like, well, it bombed because there was no marketing for it.
It's also kind of a stillborn concept. Actually, I wonder, do you remember a couple last year or the year before the Sony had another kids movie, Lyle Lyle Crocodile?
Yes, yeah.
I wonder, the Purple Crayon, who published that and who published
Oh, wow, wow.
Lyle Crocodile
Wouldn't surprise me if they were
publisher?
the same publisher.
Because let's see here. Publication date preceded by.
Yeah, and Harold and the Purple Crayon was it stars Zachary Levi, who
Yeah, why does he keep playing man children?
I don't know. First was Shazam, and now this. I don't know.
Okay, so I don't have the okay, so it's Harper Collins these days for Harold and the Purple Crayon. If I go Lyle Crocodile book, paperback. I'd forgotten just how cheap kids books were. The paperback for Lyle is only $6.
Yeah, I
Granted, it
remember
isn't that many
them.
pages, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember
okay,
them being. I remember when I was a kid seeing them for like $1 or two.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Clarion Books. So different publishers. So what
Okay.
that tells me is that somebody over at Sony had the idea that there weren't enough kids movies that were coming out, so they probably were making a point of going after these well-known kids book properties. Neither one
Yeah.
has worked out for them, unfortunately.
No. Yeah.
Lyle, like would, as I recall, did decently, but it was like depressed COVID time decently.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I heard about this one is like they kind of stripped away everything that would be interesting because it's like Harold is a grown up, not a child, and they're dealing with a single mom and her kids and her kind of hard scrabble life.
Hmm.
And the porcupine and moose are just humans in this world instead of like a CGI characters or something fun like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, since you can just draw anything you need, it's very hard to build tension because there are no apparent rules to the crayon.
Oh. Well,
Also, from
yeah.
the film threat review I saw, I don't recall there being a villain, properly speaking.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, well,
So that sounds kind of boring.
yeah. Alan Ing, as he put it, was that there were a line of kids in front of him, and he thought it was unusual that he could hear everything being said in the movie because the kids were just kind of stone quiet.
Because they're probably just like this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking of A Quiet Place Day One came
oh,
in next last weekend. It's 6 weeks out, million for the whole weekend. It's on its way to Paramount Plus or whatnot.
yeah, yeah, 6 weeks in theaters. Yeah, yeah.
$137 million cum is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
Then we got the Firing Squad, which I've not heard of. Oh, okay, that's the. Is this one actually Angel Studios? Because it feels like it's Angel Studios.
Looks like Angel Studios.
Uh, bu- 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 bu-
Faith
bu-
based. Yeah.
Epic
Epic
Studios,
Studios. Okay.
VGC. Okay, but it's basically about a group of Christian prisoners in a third world prison,
Uh,
starring Kevin Sorbo.
oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been in a few of those. I wonder if that one was. I wonder if that was one of the ones produced by Sean Hannity. Because I
Could
know,
be.
yeah, because I know Sorbo has starred in quite a few of those movies that Sean Hannity produced. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Uh, of Sound of Freedom, this is not.
No,
And then we got Bad Boys Ride or Die continuing to make up for a little bit of that Harold and the Purple Crayon bomb.
yes, yeah.
I'm curious, morbidly curious. How much did they spend on this thing?
I heard 40 million.
Okay, you know what? Like they're going to make that back up putting it up on Netflix.
Yeah.